Welcome back to the Kushtka channel, everyone. I have an informative one for you today. If you're the owner of a 99 through 2002 Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra, or any other GM vehicle that's running this ABS system, you may be having a low-speed ABS deployment issue. That is to say, when you're decelerating and you hit that 10 mile per hour mark, your brake pedal loses all pressure, damn near bottoms out, starts to flutter when that ABS pump kicks on, and maybe a caliper seizes up and not the other, or maybe they both seize up. This is a very common issue because it's an inherent design flaw for these year vehicles. And I think I may have found a long-term fix. So what's happening here in that design flaw is there is enough gap between the sensor and the hub to allow particles, dust and crap and moisture to get in there. And when that happens, it turns into rust and pushes the sensor away from the reluctor wheel or reluctor ring, the thing that looks like a cog. And your sensor is no longer getting an accurate wheel speed reading, and that causes issues. So what we got to do is we got to strip the wheel down to the hub, remove that sensor, and we have to create a level surface. We have to shave off the hub so that the sensor is closer to the reluctor wheel so that your sensor can get an accurate reading. And I'm going to show you how to do that, and you're going to want to watch from start to finish, because my first attempt made the brakes better, but it didn't solve the issue. And so I went back to the drawing board, and the second attempt through, I went at it from a slightly different angle, and this is where the magic happens. I tried something that is a very simple solution, but it's something that I haven't seen recommended or haven't read of anyone trying it yet. So I think it is going to get us around that inherent design flaw and serve to be a longer term solution to this ABS issue. So without further ado, let's get to it. We are down to the ABS. This is a 5mm Allen. Let me just very carefully undo that. Don't lose this. The sensor should pop right out. And here's what I'm talking about. So this layer of rust that builds up right here, I painted over mine after I hit it with a wire brush and a little pick. But you can see all that shimmer. That shimmer represents little raised points of rust. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this hole right here so that we don't get any debris down in with our I think that's called the reluctor wheel. And then we're going to shave off the top until it's a nice smooth surface. All right, with the surface prepped and our little metal gasket now filed down, we should get a little better contact here. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. Looks like it still has plenty of grease on it. Oop. Okay, we're on the driver's side over here. Just did the driver's side exactly like I did the passenger side. Also filed down the little metal gasket spacer thing because that was pretty rusty as well. So go ahead and reassemble everything and see if that did what I wanted it to do. Let's see if that fixed it. All right, got everything reassembled. I just took it for a test drive. The brakes have improved. The ABS light doesn't come on. However, when I get down to about 10 miles per hour, instead of just the driver's side locking up and pulling the whole truck to the left, both sides now, they don't really lock up, but ABS kicks on. You can definitely feel it in the front end on both sides right when you hit about 10 miles per hour with the brakes on. So not quite out of the woods yet, but it is a lot better, and it does feel a lot safer to drive, and the brakes do feel a lot more stiff now. One thing I forgot to mention is that a couple days ago my buddy helped me bleed the crap out of the brakes. We bled and bled and bled and bled, so there's no air in the system. We know that. But yep, so job continues. But all right, guys, we're back at it today. Got it ripped down again. So since the ABS was still kicking in or initiating or deploying at low speeds, right around 10 miles per hour or less, like maybe like 9 miles per hour, everything I read, including from GM, led me to believe that I just did not file it down enough, and that hand file just wasn't doing it for me. So here's what I'm using. A couple little dingle ball grinders that came with my die grinder set, and I'm just put it on my hand drill. And again, same method, plugged it up with some cloth and made sure to blow it off with air every once in a while. The idea is to keep your reluctor wheel or reluctor ring that looks like a cog down there. If you can see that. Idea is to keep that as clean as possible, keep debris off of it so that it doesn't interfere with the signal between your ABS sensor and the reluctor wheel. So I have it grinded down quite a bit. I didn't show you on this side because I just wanted to kind of feel it out, but I think I got a pretty okay process down, so I'll go ahead and disassemble the other side, and when I start grinding I'll get you set up so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, gonna bring you in here for the process. I got it all plugged up, stripped down. As you see, there's still a bunch of ridges right here where I couldn't quite get it with that big ass file that I was using. And so I'm gonna take this little dingle ball grinding bit and use the smaller one, and I'm just gonna, as evenly as possible, plane it down. And the idea when you're doing this, so you don't get any high or low spots or it's uneven, is that you just keep that bit moving. Just keep it moving all the way across. Now this big bit's only gonna probably get to about right here, so I'm gonna have to switch to the smaller bit and get over there. So let's get it. Alright guys, I'm going to do something maybe a little unorthodox. I'm going to remove this ring altogether. So what I noticed is that when it's placed down here, it actually lifts the sensor up a little bit. And I'm sure that's by design, but what I'm also noticing, or what I postulate at least, is that when it's lifted up above there, it actually, you can see this gap, and I'll try to get you down there so you can see it, but it creates a gap. And I think that's where a lot of the buildup and rust and crap starts from, is that little design flaw. That might be the design flaw that everyone's talking about, and that's how rust gets underneath. And once it gets underneath, it just keeps pushing further and further up. So I'm actually going to put these aside, save it for a rainy day. You guys let me know if I'm messing up, but I'm going to give it a try at least. Put that aside and tighten it up. See what happens. One thing GM recommends, and make sure your sensor's clean, of course. Make sure your area mating surfaces are clean. See a little bit of fuzz in there I need to pull out. But they recommend putting a thin layer of grease over this mating surface to help preserve on that metal a little bit. So I'm gonna go get a little goop, put a light layer on there, and then tighten it back up. Put a little bit on the ring there. It's got a little rubber O-ring. Then I'm gonna go ahead and cover this mating surface up a bit. Get some of that grease down in that screw hole. Okay. Sensor's clean, area's clean. We're definitely going to get the depth, I believe, that we need. You see, we didn't take a terrible amount of material off, but we did put quite a bit. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you. Okay, should be able to see a bit of a gap. Should be able to see a bit of a gap on the outsides here. I think that's where rust gets built up, or where it starts to, and then it just keeps pushing. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that and show you what it looks like after. Alright, as you can see, it is a much more level plane. The two mating surfaces are touching. Looks like there might be a little bit of gap on this side, but that's probably from my own little honing that I was doing. But it is a lot flatter. It is a little bit closer just because I removed that little metal separating gasket adapter dealy schniggin. So I'm thinking between leveling this out with the grinding bits and removing that little gasket, the sensor should be closer now. Should be close enough at least to do something. If not, I'm kind of out of ideas, but all right, let's see how it works. And that's the job. So if you were having low speed ABS deployment issues, that's what you got to do. If first you don't succeed, just keep grinding till you do. So I've been driving the truck for about a week now, and it has been working perfectly. I don't have that issue anymore. And just a heads up, I realize I'm putting this video out ahead of two other videos that I recorded before this one. So if you are having other ABS sensor issues, like your ABS light is now permanently on, your vehicle is feeling sluggish, even if you have a tuned vehicle and it kind of feels like it's back in stock tune, then you were also having some ABS sensor issues, or modular issue, or a pump issue. I was able to fix mine by changing my ABS sensors, and for good measure, I changed my ABS pump, because this is an old truck that used to be an Alaska State government rig, and then it was a whale watching catamaran tow vehicle, so the brakes just got put through hell. So I just changed out the pump while I was thinking about it and working on ABS stuff anyways, and I gotta say I'm pretty happy with it. Those two videos are going to come out next, hopefully within the next week or two. after this video drops. And so if you're having any of those other further ABS issues, definitely stick around, subscribe to check that out. I'm going to end this video by putting a link here or here to another video for this LB7 Duramax. And I'll let YouTube choose a video that they think is best for you for my selection, and we'll see how that turns out. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. We'll see you on the next one.